Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I am a Western astrologer and twin flame channel. And this is a video about the energies for the September 2019 new moon in Libra. This new moon happens to fall on September 28th, 2019, roughly 2:26 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be 11:26 a.m. if you're Pacific time, and I believe about 8:26 p.m. if you're Greenwich Mean. This particular new moon falls in the sign of Libra, and you can see it here at the 5th degree of Libra. And it's got a very lovely, sweet, generous, kind, overarching energy. That doesn't take away the fact that this entire year, this energy in Capricorn has been heavy. And we're going to get out to some tension toward the full moon after this, when, we'll see the sun coming out here to make some squares. Libra and Capricorn squaring signs, squaring cardinal signs. Squares do bring an energy of tension where it requires some work to figure out how to make things gel, because they don't naturally gel or flow on their own. But just looking at the new moon itself, the energy in the sign of Libra, we've got all this. It's really positive. It's very beautiful, very loving, very kind. And this is a new moon that is interested in justice and fairness and equity, that is about creating a beginning in the arena of fair and balanced partnership. So that's kind of the overarching energy as Libra governs partnership. And Libra also governs fairness, balance. It's the scales. It provides this energy of, how do we make things even, right, equal, with the moon, the sun, the shaman's asteroid, Venus, Mercury, and the creation goddess all sitting here together. So let's get into some of the specifics. This new moon, just the day before it strikes full, is going to be at perigee, meaning it is a supermoon. It is going to be closest to the Earth, that is close to the Earth as it can get at this time, which makes the energy of it that much more palpable, makes the energy of this new beginning that much more deeply felt. Another interesting thing about it is that we've got this Jupiter trine. So here's Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius, not quite yet done with being in the shadow phase of its retrograde cycle, almost there. It will complete that by the time we hit the full moon in a couple of weeks in Aries. But this Jupiter at 17 degrees Sagittarius, and the sign of truth, and the sign of higher ideals, and the sign of our values, our goals, and the things that we strive for, is making a sextile out here to Venus. Anytime you have a sextile, it's like the second or third most harmonious flow of energy between two planets. And both Jupiter and Venus are known to be what are called benefics. They're beneficial planets. They bring gifts, they bring opportunity. The two of them together, when they speak together in this way, tend to very directly speak about money and abundance, financial abundance. But because this energy is playing itself out in a relationship sign, this may actually have more to do with abundance in the realm of relationship, abundance in the realm of partnership. So if you aren't experiencing some sort of financial windfall as a result of work done at this time, because sextiles really represent work that lends itself to flow and harmony. If you've been doing work in the realm of relationship, you will start to see some of that benefit start to show up at this time with this very harmonious energy between Venus and Jupiter. For those of you that are really familiar, or for those of you that are not, you can imagine a boat on the water. And this is how I like to explain the energy of a sextile, so that you can understand what it takes to harvest the benefits, because there's definitely beneficial energy here. Um, but it doesn't come as the result of just thinking it will come. It comes as the result of work. So just imagine with me, if you will, a boat on still water, canoe, or a rowboat where two people can sit in it. In um, with a canoe, as you may understand, you have to paddle single person on both sides in order to get the boat to go straight ahead. With a rowboat, let's just say there are two people in the rowboat, both people have to put their oars in the water in order for the boat to move forward. Now, if only one person puts their oar in the water and starts rowing in this still water, what you end up getting is a boat that goes in circles. But if both people put their oars in the water, you get a boat that has the opportunity to move forward, to get the benefits of being in that boat. A trine, 120-degree angle, which is different than a sextile, what we're talking about here, is the equivalent of putting a boat in a moving stream or in a moving river. The current just kind of carries you toward your destination. But to get the benefit of a sextile, you got to be doing some work. And the work with this particular full moon, this work is about really honoring your attractions, honoring what you're drawn to, allowing things to be drawn into you. Was that what this week's Lightworker deck Oracle guidance was about? How things kind of get attracted into you, and you kind of got to use discernment to figure out what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. Might be. With Mercury here and the creation goddess here so close to Venus, this is also about using your words to create and using your mind to create the kind of harmony you want in relationships. Jupiter being the outer planet in this configuration, shining that light into the sign of Libra, Jupiter having the more influence here, Jupiter is going to bring opportunities for what you want to occur, to appear. Jupiter is also going to bring not just opportunities, but it's going to expand, blow up, magnify and amplify what it is you're saying and thinking in the realm of relationships at this time. What you're saying and thinking in the world of relationship is going to be very sticky with Venus here, because Venus acts and functions at its most neutral like glue. It's a magnet. It pulls things into herself. Jupiter bringing opportunity for those things to get magnified. It is incredibly important at this time to watch our words, to watch how we're thinking and talking about ourselves as it pertains to partnership, ourselves as it pertains to the fairness of life, others as it pertains to partnership, and others as it pertains to the fairness and the justness of life. Our words have a lot more power and carry a lot more weight with this kind of new moon, because this particular new moon is the setup for an extended stay of the partnership asteroid, Juno, in the partnership sign, Libra, that begins in November. Right around November 4th, we are going to have the introduction of Juno for a long, I think it's almost 12 months stay in this sign. And for 9 of those 12 months, she's going to be doing a retrograde dance in the retrograde zone, retrograding and shadow, then back, which is really significant because all of us as a collective will be having a lot of our attention on our alliances and our partnerships. How we're there for people, how we allow people to be there for us, what we ask for, what we're willing to receive, how we ask, and the amplification of doing these kinds of things in ways that are truly, truly fair and equitable. And this is a great moment to really point out the difference between equality and equity. They're two very different things, and Libra, governing justice and fairness, is going to help point a lot of this out for us during that 9-month Juno dance. You know, let me see if I can find that meme real quick and I'll show it to you guys. Okay, so here's an image that really illustrates the difference between equity and equality. This image shows, 3 people looking over a fence at a particular ball game, football game that's happening. And what we have here is everyone on the left got the exact same things. The exact same tool to look over the fence. But as you can see, their starting place doesn't yield that, or doesn't concede that each person's tool, that the tool that everyone was given actually helps them all in the same way to have the same experience. In fact, it doesn't help anyone except for maybe her. She still has to stand on her tiptoes, but this guy, he could already see. And this person down here in the wheelchair still can't see. What we've got going on here on the right side is equity. On the left, this is equality. On the right, this is equity. With equity, what you get is what each person needs in order for things to work out fairly for them. This is one of the interesting things about the golden rule, treating other people how you yourself would like to be treated. This full moon, or this new moon, I should say, really is about coming to understand the truth of how we want and need to be treated, being able to articulate that, and then creating this space to hear truthfully, that's Jupiter here, to hear truthfully from other people about how they need to be treated as well, and then creating the space in our own hearts and in our own lives to deliver on that as a true partner to people in our businesses, people in our classrooms, people in our relationships romantically, people we may own property with. Standing in equity is what this kind of full moon, new moon energy is asking us to do as we begin the approach of the partnership asteroid to the partnership sign for a 9-month retrograde dance and a full 12-month stay. So that's really significant. Because it's our partnerships that are really going to help us get through some of the more challenging aspects of 2020 when they start to arise. It's the ways we have treated people it's going to be mirrored back to us, whether or not we have shown up when the scales of justice come to balance themselves. and whether or not we have shown up for ourselves. That's the other energy here too. It's just as much about self-love as it is about loving another, but doing it in a way that doesn't expect everyone to want what you want, that doesn't expect everyone to need what you need, but instead allows them and allows you to have what you each need, even though those may be very different things. That's partnership, right? That's love. So I'll link where that image came from below this video, because it'll go more into detail about the differences between equality and equity and the importance of recognizing those differences as we move into the Juno retrograde period. And this particular time, while Juno is still in Virgo, is the setup for that. The setup for that energy. So we've also got, during this full moon, Chiron opposite the moon. So here's Chiron down here at 3 degrees Aries. Here's the moon up here at 5 degrees Libra. Libra and Aries, they have an interesting dynamic, right? So Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, it's a sign of the individual. Initiations, new beginnings, the sign of the self, raw power, assertion, energy. We've got, Libra being, 180 degrees around the wheel from it. If Aries is about the self, then Libra is about the other. And with Chiron, the healer here, sitting in the sign of Aries, there's this energy intention around what we need to heal ourselves that is operating 180 degrees in another direction from what our partnerships are calling out for, in terms of creating that equity, creating those things that each person might need to be inside of those partnerships. So what's interesting here is, and what's actually kind of spelled out in pretty much black and white, is that Chiron is saying, heal yourself. Don't expect anyone else to do this for you. And by being healed and coming into this healed and focusing on ourselves, we get the opportunity to come into these partnerships anew. We get the opportunity to truly understand what someone else needs, because our needs are fulfilled. Our ears can now be open to someone else because we're no longer starving. So this oppositional energy can, at its lowest octave, start to feel a little like I'm caught between what I need to do for myself and what my partnerships are demanding of me at this time. And I can't do both. It's one or the other. The integrational energy, because we all have both energies in us at the same time, allows us to have a look at, okay, if it's one or the other, it can also be one and the other, but the question becomes how? What is required in order for me to have both and, as opposed to either or? What is required for me to get what I need and for my relationships to get what they need? That's the question that this new moon asks of us. So it's a very interesting time. For some people, you may find, depending upon some of your transits to your natal chart, that this kind of chironic energy and some of this deep karma clearing energy here is telling you that certain relationships now need to end in order for other relationships to begin. And there is an ending upon you at this time that holding on to things is only going to create more tension and cause more self-harm and more damage to relationships you might otherwise like to at least have intact, even if it's in a different format. For others of you, this energy is heralding a very new beginning in certain relationships, either having to do with finance or having to do with business, having to do with romantic partnership. This energy is heralding the beginning of not the beginning, but it's heralding a new beginning, because you've already done the work of closure and completion. So if you're curious about what's so for you in your chart, we should have a look at that, because the way these are stacking up against where your sun and your moon lives and your houses are is going to let you know what you're being asked to do at this time. So you can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com, KRYSALISMOON@gmail.com. This will give you the information you need. I'll send an autoresponder. You'll get it within seconds or minutes. It'll show you what you need to book a session. The calendar is now open for booking between October 1st and October 15th. So that's right around the corner, less than a week away. So if you'd like to have time in the next week or so to look at these energies so you understand how to use the upcoming Juno retrograde energy to your advantage, then definitely let me know. Okay, so other interesting things going on here. If you're, I'm going to speak directly to the ladies here for a second. This is a very feminine new moon. My ladies of a menstruating age, of a childbearing age, let me just talk to us for a second. If you're a woman who happens to bleed with the new moon, there's a very specific way I want to point out that you can use this energy, given how close all of this is to the creation goddess, that it includes Venus, that it's in a feminine sign with the ruler of that feminine sign happening inside of that sign. We've got Juno in a feminine sign. There's just a lot of very feminine energy here. If you're a woman who bleeds with the new moon, and you are currently seated in that period of time that I like to call the womb of wisdom, the truth-telling time, before your moon time arrives, you can really use some of that pre-moon time tension that arises. I think in the mundane world, they call this PMS. You can really use some of that tension that shows you the truth of how you really feel to begin to surface what you truly want to manifest with this new moon in relationships, in partnerships, and in the realm of fairness, balance, justice, and equity. Utilize this time well, because this particular moon is going to reveal to you the truths that you're going to be working with during that 12-month stay of Juno inside Libra. So if you are the opposite of that, if you are a woman of childbearing age who bleeds with the full moon, that means you would be ovulating with this new moon. You would be at a point in your cycle where you are peaking in power, peaking in your magnetism, your attractiveness, peaking in your capacity to externally assert yourself in your world. Utilize this very receptive new moon to pay close attention to what you are magnetizing to you. It is a direct reflection of your vibration at this time. Notice what kind of people, circumstances, opportunities, situations are showing themselves to you in the mirror, and utilize this wisdom to support your capacity to make adjustments before we walk into that Juno retrograde period. Super important for women who are at that point of peak attractiveness at ovulation time to pay attention to what is being mirrored back to them with this new moon. So, all right, that's my diatribe about women of childbearing age. I will move on now. If you are a woman in her wisdom years, you can utilize, the beautiful thing about this is that you can utilize this energy in both ways at the same time. If you are in your wisdom years, you can both look at the mirror, and if tension is arising, you can utilize that to understand the truths of what it is you want to manifest when we move into that Juno retrograde period. If you're in your wisdom years, both are going to show themselves to you if you're paying attention during this particular new moon. So, thank you for bearing with me. I just felt the need to tell you guys that. So what else is there? Creation goddess and Mercury conjunct. I think I spoke about that. Using our words to create our worlds in relationships. We spoke about shaman's asteroid, moon, and sun conjunct. This is really about channeling a higher vision for our relationships based on everything we have been through prior to now inside of our relationships. So been through prior to now, I want to point out something in particular. This particular year, the partnership asteroid has traveled one sign per month all year long. And she's traveled in pack with Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, moving roughly all of them together every, 21 to 32 days into a new sign, giving the partnership asteroid a taste of new energy. Specifically during the spring, Mars and Venus would have been in a conjunction energy. And those two have been in a conjunction energy since then in this little dance where sometimes Juno's ahead, sorry, not Venus, Mars and Juno. Sometimes Juno's ahead, the partnership asteroid's ahead. Other times Mars, motivation, ambition, and drive is ahead. And this little dance that they have been doing through each sign all year long has lent itself to a little bit of clarity about what we're motivated around when it comes to relationship, when it comes to partnership. You may have noticed at certain points during this year that there are certain things you're just not interested in anymore. Because the energy of Mars is so raw, it's so real, it's so can't lie. The energy of Mars is just so, heart on sleeve, feelings on face. If I'm into it, you're going to know it. And if I'm not, you're going to know that too. They're now moving into separation as Juno starts to slow down to move into her retrograde dance, and Mars keeps the same pace Mars has been keeping. This is all happening in the sign of discernment, Virgo, the sign of dedication and focus, the sign of knowing the difference between things. And so with this happening here, the separation happening here, you may find that now things that you were previously motivated around in relationship, you just don't really have the energy for it. And it's because this period between this new moon and November 4th, when Juno moves, this partnership asteroid moves into the partnership sign, you're going to be getting some wisdom about things that are kind of done for you in relationship and what's occurring that's new for you in relationship, so that by the time Juno hits Libra, you're ready to make the adjustments, you're ready to ride, because you have done the work already. Like I said, if you've been having the experience of, not kind of knowing and maybe experiencing a little bit of relationship karma and drama this year, we should probably have a look at your chart to see what's needing to end at this time so that you can have a very peaceful and beautiful experience of Juno moving into Libra. And you can email me at chrysalismoon@gmail.com. We can set up that time to look at what this new moon is bringing in for you. As I said, the calendar is now open with spaces available for October 1st through the 15th. That's just next week. I would super love to talk to anyone that feels called to have that conversation, to set yourselves up for a really beautiful Juno stay in the sign of Libra. With that said, thank you very, very much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing. I very much look forward to hearing how this resonates for you in the comments.